The ambition and scale of the project is striking, and we are delighted to be working with Masterise Homes on this unique residential project, which brings together their progressive vision and our extensive experience in large-scale master plans to create a distinct global city. This will be our first township in Vietnam, and we are excited to extend our footprint in the country. I think it was the vibrancy of the city. When you go into the city and you start to understand the culture of the place, we spent a lot of time just experiencing downtown Ho Chi Minh City, seeing how people lived and looking very closely at the architecture of the city. And I think that really influenced the thinking for us. What we wanted to do with the master plan was really learn from the traditions and the history and start to interpret that into a contemporary way. So still retain some of the traditions and history, but also create a modern master plan that suits the needs of today's living. The density of the traditional architecture is really interesting. The way that the shop houses, the narrow shop houses, are very densely closely packed together. But even so, they provide a sort of interesting differences. So you look at them and they're all very different in their detail and their materiality. And I think we wanted to learn from that and try and take some of those ideas and recreate them in the way in which we created the density for each of the different neighbourhoods for the master plan. So it's not just the activity on the street or the architecture, it's also interestingly the activity of life that happens on the upper levels, in particular the roofscape. So it's activating the whole of the city in three dimensions almost. If you look at the way people live in Vietnam, there's an awful lot of interaction at the street level. So that people in the evenings in particular will go out and they will socialise, and you go into the city at night time, it's a very different experience from the daytime experience. Similarly here, we wanted to allow people who live and reside in this in the global city to actually be able to interact with one another at a street level, and we create these spaces at the front of the properties that allow people to meet their friends and neighbours and engage in a very sociable and community way. When we think about designing not only master plans but also individual buildings, we very much try to look back at history and try and understand the past and be heavily influenced by that. So we wanted to create something that's modern, contemporary, that is suitable for the way in which people live, but very much forward thinking about creating a design for a global city.